Hello everybody, this is Transformers Fanco 328 and I'm going to talk about Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Now, unlike the last time I covered Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which some of you may not remember, I just ever so briefly talked about it and I really didn't have a whole lot to say. But at the time, a lot of stuff wasn't really revealed. And at the time I was also trying to merge in like the essential roleplay at the time and it just wasn't going all that well. So I didn't really have a whole lot to say, and it really wasn't purely my thoughts on Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. But now that more information has been revealed, I figured I'd talk about it right now. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 has a main draw involving 12 characters. These include Hawkeye, Strider Hero, or however that last name is pronounced. I really don't understand why there are a lot of characters that have almost unpronounceable names. Ghost Rider, Firebrand, Doctor Strange, Nemesis, Iron Fist, Virgil, Phoenix Wright, Nova, Frank West, and Rocket Raccoon. I thought Strider was a great character to return to the Marvel vs. Capcom universe. I mean, he was fun as shit to play as in Marvel 2, and even though I have not played the most purest form, i.e. the arcade version, I still got to download the Xbox and PS3 version. Well, more so the PS3 version, but still, I still like that game a lot. I also thought that the inclusion of Hawkeye was, interesting. But given that the Avengers movie is coming out, I suppose, why not? And, I just realized that, through most of the videos where I have a webcam, you're noticing Commando Man in the background. Ghost Rider looked like a fantastic addition, as did Firebrand. Doctor Strange, I was like, holy shit! Where the fuck was he? I mean, we've got Shumagorath from Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and Marvel Superheroes, not to mention Dormammu in Marvel 3, and I don't even know if Blackheart counts, but I have a feeling it does. So, where the fuck was Doctor Strange? And I didn't know I would actually be asking where Doctor Strange was, given that I only knew about him through Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Then again, a lot of characters I only know through certain video games, and I don't really give a crap about them until these games, which actually give me focus on them. Speaking of which, Iron Fist. I'm skipping straight to Iron Fist. Iron Fist I only got to know through his surprise inclusion in Spider-Man Friend or Foe. The primary reason why I got that game was to play as Venom, but, you know. Iron Fist was actually a very nice surprise to be incorporated into Ultimate Marvel 3. Anyway, Nemesis. Need I say more? It's fucking Nemesis. Then there's Virgil. Again, very nice addition. Then Phoenix Wright. Even though the idea is ridiculous, it's still very interesting to see that we actually get a friggin' warrior in a fighting game. He's gonna be a lot of fun to play with anyways. And then there's Nova. Nova caught me completely off guard. I had no idea who the fuck he was. I had no idea about him whatsoever. As opposed to like characters like Doctor Strange or Iron Fist. I had a general idea of them because I saw the characters and they had somewhat important roles in the games that I played with them actually in. But for the most part, I didn't know who the fuck Nova was. So he completely caught me off guard. But he looks like an interesting character. Frank West I got to play as in Tatsunoko vs. Capcom, and he looks very interesting in this game, especially since he actually incorporates a leveling system through his friggin' camera. That's awesome. He gets the photograph to level up. That's awesome. And then Rocket Raccoon. And yes, I did say it like that intentionally, as ridiculous as it may be. Rocket Raccoon was the one that caught everybody off guard. And I mean everybody. No one talked about Nova that much, because I had no idea who the fuck he was. And I had no idea who the fuck Rocket Raccoon was either. He was the one everybody targeted. But I had not the slightest clue about Nova. But back to Rocket Raccoon. He caught everyone completely off guard, primarily because of the fact of, well, holy shit, he actually looks very fun to play. Now there are other things that have been announced. About 8 or 9 new stages have been incorporated into Ultimate Marvel 3, including one that's very, very interesting. A stage that looks like the gang area from the original Marvel 3, but in this one, it's wrecked up. We see classic Sentinels, and in the background we notice a list of characters that have been either been apprehended or slain. And all these characters are actually characters that were once playable in Marvel 2, like Ruby Hart, Gambit, Amingo, BB Hood, Psylocke. The only one that isn't either slain or apprehended is Mega Man. That's very interesting indeed. Why is he not apprehended or slain? Was he too good? I don't know. Anyway, we're also getting 3 new modes. The first new mode is a post-release DLC mode called Heroes and Heralds mode, where basically this mode is designed to be either you're a Herald of Galactus or you're a hero trying to defend Earth. And in which case, it was intentionally unbalanced to the point where it's supposed to be just fun. You're wrecking shit up, like destroying entire health bars in one hit. At least that's what I'm assuming. There's also another mode that is supposedly called Galactus mode, where you play through an entire arcade mode as Galactus. You inhabit the left side of the screen, at least you can tell, and pretty much you're playing as Galactus. That looks very interesting, and that was actually what sold me onto the game. But then the DLC costumes caught me in a major surprise. But before we get into the DLC costumes, let's talk about that one other mode, which is Spectator mode. Yes, Spectator mode. The one thing that caught me off guard entirely were the DLC costumes. Now, most of them look very interesting. Ugh! That Shumagora's alternate costume? That looks sick, and is that Jill's Resident Evil 3 attire? I'm surprised I actually know that attire, despite the fact I've never touched a Resident Evil game in my life. For the most part, they look very interesting. Well, this is just the Marvel side. Let's see the Capcom side. Again, they look very interesting. What? Am I seeing this right? I gotta fix my glasses. Oh my god! Mega Man X is a DLC costume for Zero? Holy shit! In my original video, I pretty much stated that either X or Venom was going to be DLC in some way, shape, or form, or I'd just stick to Marvel 3. But with Galactus, the Heroes and Heralds mode, Rocket Raccoon, and Phoenix Wright, and now X is a DLC costume? I think this is the only time I'm ever going to support DLC costumes for Capcom. I mean, holy Jesus, we'd get X! A character that we've been demanding! Even if it's not a pure character, it still would have been pretty similar to Zero anyways. After all X really did, all Mega Man really did was just jump and shoot. That was it. Jump, shoot. X pretty much added wall climbing, but does that really help in a fighting game? There's still charging, and there's sliding, and then there's the animal friends. But again, for the most part, jump, shoot. That's it. So making X as a DLC costume for Zero, I thought that's a pretty kick-ass idea. Even if it still reads Zero up in the corner of the health bar, if he still says the lines that Zero has, and it's the same voice actor as Zero, and the win quotes are still Zero, and well, it's still X in a sense, so yeah. Besides, X is in the fucking game. Shut up! Be thankful he's even in there. Now, at first this made me wonder, why couldn't they just incorporate X or just Mega Man, or any real incarnation of Mega Man that isn't, you know, like a supporting character, into, like, Marvel vs. Capcom. I mean, into MVC3. I mean, it's not because they didn't have the rights since Inafune left. I mean, come on, they incorporated both Zero and Tron. So, they incorporated both Tron Bonne and Zero. So why the fuck couldn't they incorporate X? But I know that throughout the video, I just answered my own question. So, Again, shut up! And of course, there are the minor changes with the characters, but I can't really cover those because I never really bothered with the game, and I'm not that kind of technical person. I just like to beat the shit out of the characters. And actually, it's because of these DLC costumes that ever so technically, we get additional characters. Of course, X is one of them, but it's like, even though this wouldn't really change the arcade endings or the moves or really anything about them other than the appearance, but there also appears to be some exclusive quotes for the DLC costumes, but I don't know. So yeah, before I was skeptical about the game entirely, but now I'm sold on it. It's a guaranteed Christmas present for me. So yeah, this is Transformers Fanco 328. I am done, and I will see you next time.
Quiet!